I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we got any public comment? Sherry?
Yeah, I'm bringing this forward in the interest of transparency for your constituents. At a previous meeting, you guys discussed raises for everyone. As a board, you have the unique ability to increase your rate of pay without any accountability to the taxpayers who are actually paying your salary. Granted, both the clerk and the treasurer put in extra time for elections and taxes. However, since I have no idea what that might be, perhaps that may warrant an increase. However, without that information, I'm basing the following calculations from the hours posted on the sign. Excuse me, which reads clerk 8 to 12 Tuesday, treasurer Wednesday 9 to 2. So based on that equates to, for the clerk, 208 hours per year. And that equals out to an hourly rate of $67 per hour if that's all the time that's being put in. The treasurer puts in 260 hours, and that brings her rate of pay to $53 per hour. I can't provide any figures for Kurt or the sewer clerk since they have no office hours posted. If you're in the office more often than what's on the sign, then it might be a good idea to change the sign to reflect those additional days or hours so the people, your constituents, know you're available. And for the sake of transparency, should you decide to increase anyone's wages, it would be helpful to know what you're basing this increase on. Perhaps additional responsibilities have been added? It's been my experience when I've held a job in both public and private sectors, I was paid for the time in the office or the building. To be paid for hours worked outside the primary location, I was required to submit the amount of time I was out as well as what I was working on. When I was a trustee, I recall hours for the clerk's deputy being submitted on a regular basis, but just dates and total hours were shown, not what was worked on. Since your daughter works full-time for the state, one might assume that these were worked outside the office. The treasurer works in the office side by side with her deputy, so one can hope that he can take over as necessary. We're only paying the deputies $3,500 a year. This is from the state of Michigan legislature, and reads in part, in case of the absence, sickness, death, or other disability of the clerk, specifically, the deputy shall possess the powers and perform the duties of the clerk. If the deputies aren't fully trained in the job duties or are not available to come into the office and assume those duties, it feels like a major disservice to our township and could leave us in dire straits. My understanding is there is no process or procedure document which could be followed in any of your absences. For example, I spoke with Kurt and he said he was directing the DPW assistants. But unless something changed, the only information from the previous DPW was a list of what he does during each season. It did not state when or how often to perform those tasks. My feeling is the board shouldn't have to rely on former board members or employees for information on how or what they need to do to be able to meet their job responsibilities. I'm hopeful that the board will consider becoming proactive and create a process or procedure document for the supervisor, clerk, and treasurer and the DPW in case an extended absence occurs to make certain the township can continue business as usual. Thank you.
John?
The detective came and talked to me last week regarding the missing money that has only come to light in the last couple of weeks. And my first comment to him was, I wish I had written down my memories of the day that the money went missing. And at this point, it was almost 4 months after the fact, and I couldn't even tell you to this day which exact day the money was missing. I remember it was the day before a meeting because that's when I was told. And as I was telling him this, I asked him, why is it taking so long for me to be talked to? Because I'm not giving you complete information. And he advised me that when this started, There was a conversation between the detective and I believe the sheriff with our supervisor, and he was advised that an audit needed to be taken of our accounting to make sure there had not been in the past improprieties made and cover-ups happened. And unfortunately, he told me that you said we're not doing an audit, and you were advised that the investigation was done.
By the other sheriff.
This is what the detective told me. So he gave me a paper. I filled out basically my statement, what I remember from the day, my procedures as deputy treasurer, and when he came back and picked it up, we had a very long discussion where he reiterated exactly that a second time. So my question, or my statement is, why did it take this long to come to this? Because I don't feel good at all about the situation, and that it has taken this long for an investigation, for an interview, and it was never public knowledge until close to 4 months after the incident. Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, we'll move on. Need a motion to approve the agenda and accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Patty, second by Nancy to approve the agenda and accept the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we need to accept the motion to accept the consent agenda.
Motion to accept it.
Motion by Alicia, seconded by Sarah to accept the approval of the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I have one thing on Township bill, so. We're gonna pay MTA for our, membership dues.
Mm-hmm.
And we have $3,224 left in training budgets, for the governing body. Supervisor, clerk, and treasurer. And if we bump up to a premium pass for $1,900, using some of that $3,224, it has a ton of advantages. If 4 people go to the conference, we're gonna say $312 by having paid that. We get up to 100 webinars free access to live monthly webinars. Now you know, featuring new topics and Township Government Academy courses, so I would actually like to spend that money and upgrade to a premium pass. We've got the money there. This year's budget, we're paying it right now.
I think it's a good idea, but I don't think this is private place that we need to, wouldn't that be a thing under new business? Because we're,
Well, unless, okay, this is
we
all I
just
can say
approved
is
paying
that
that.
this was with the paperwork that I got to okay the check. So I wish we could have been asked, can we
Okay.
do this?
But I'm saying, we can always void this check, if we make a motion later in the meeting where we should, so we should pull, I'm just.
We can pay this one in Ed.
Right, or do we want to pull this one, and then, well, we
Whichever
better,
way.
I'm just saying,
I don't care.
I would recommend that we not pull this one, because this is playing the membership dues, but then later we can add that to our agenda to make a motion to add the premium, and then issue a second check.
Yes,
That
I'll send them both then. I think that would be perfect.
Okay. I just think that'd be cleaner than, yeah,
Yeah,
okay, thank
okay,
you.
sounds good.
Okay, that puts us down to reports. Chris?
Yeah, I got just really 2 things. One of the things been talked about a lot is the blight ordinance template that the county was doing, and that's pretty much off the table now. We had a conversation with the sheriff the other day, and as long as the judge keeps okaying or prosecuting these cases under the old ordinance, he would rather stick with that, and we were fine with that for now until something happens. The other thing is, we were presented with 2 options to revamp the court building to accommodate the clerks move out there. One was Adam Peterson and the maintenance director went out there and they come up with a way to do it. And then the maintenance director and the clerk went out there and they come up with a way to do it. We actually approved the option two, it's a clerk's option, how she wanted to do it. So that's all supposed to take place. They've got a time frame set up as how they're gonna do things. It's supposed to be done by the first business day after the January shutdown or the New Year. So, yeah, that's about it. That actually went really smooth. That was good. So I think we finally got things smoothed over and we're moving forward with it. We're gonna have her moved and
Thanks, Chris. Anybody got any questions for the commissioner? Okay.
off everybody.
We're on to the next week.
Wait a second.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I get that.
Okay, Mike Mustard didn't come back, fire report.
Can I have a comment on that?
Yep.
Fire report, fire equipment grant, Mike did tell me that we can only apply for the 10K, so that will be for the 10K. Leave him up to him to what he's going to choose in that, and I give everyone a copy of what he can buy that will go into that grant. That's all I have.
Okay. DPW. Grass has slowed down quite a bit. They've been doing some painting, Campo and South Shore, they're gonna redo out here. They put up the fence back up in the park. Last week, I think it was. Duck Lake Improvement, Shirley?
The Duck Lake Improvement Board has a meeting coming up on July 10th, and public hearing at that same time. Public hearings as to whether to go forward with lake improvements and at what level, et cetera.
Are you at 7 PM, Shirley?
Yes. That's here. Have you reserved this room yet? I'm thinking about doing that. I'm putting it on my list. Thank you.
Is that all? Thank you. Downtown Development Authority, Dave White, he's not here.
He said they didn't have a meeting, he emailed me today and said they didn't have a June meeting and have music in the park going and July meeting's coming up.
And I am missing the May minutes. So, probably Jeremy DDA, if you talk to any DDA people, will you please say, hey, send her the minutes, please.
Is it because you didn't have a June meeting? so they
Right.
weren't-
It was, I don't have, yeah,
Yeah, they wouldn't have got submitted.
so they didn't get approved, that makes sense, thank you.
Okay, that moves us down, Montcalm Police Report, he's not here.
Well, I got a question, because I'm next on the get down, and we did the ORV golf cart safety gathering, and that was very cool. We gave out a lot of copies of the actual rules, talked to a bunch of people. He was going to try to make it, and I contacted him a few times beforehand, and he called me about 10 minutes before we were setting up and said, Sarah, I got called to all county duty, so I can't make it. I'm gonna try and make it if I can, and he couldn't. But it brings up another question of how often are they called to all county duty, and are we getting those hours made up on the back end?
I was gonna say, doesn't the report usually tell us when he's out?
It does, and it reads regular, but I've never come across, I got called to all
I've never heard
county.
of that before.
Well, you looked at me weird when I told you that, and I'm like, well, he just told me that.
Yeah, that was a verbiage I'd never heard, but we can check on that.
Cause, yeah, it seems like, how do you make up days without taking people's time off if they're somewhere else? Or do we get a different officer for a day, you know?
I think once in a while we do get a different officer.
Well, as long as the hours are fulfilled and we're not losing days,
Yeah.
that was the only thing that.
Okay,
And, yeah, ORV is my only thing on trustee report, cause policies is its own thing.
okay. You done, sir?
Yep, Les, you got anything?
Nope.
Correspondence, Rick Butler on the drain. Eagle permit on 2551 South Shore. Holly Martin. Impropriety. Unfinished business. American Rescue Plan.
Well, we've got $141,816.70 left. And at this point, no one's put forth any request for any of it,
Okay.
so it's theirs.
And when does that money have to be used by?
It has to be, committed by December 24th, December 31st of 2024. And then spent, 2 years after that?
26.
I think
I
it's
was
just
curious
26,
when it was.
gotta be spent. Yes.
Okay, the community center. Anything, Leash?
Nope, not today.
Fire department equipment bids.
Oh, Susan's.
Yeah, what, 3 bids, 3 envelopes?
Yep, 3. This is for the landscaping trailer. $800 bid from Marshall Lewis. This one's on the landscaping trailer too. From Dennis Tissue, he only bid $375.
375?
Yep. I consider the purchase of a 16-foot long landscaping trailer that's being sold $500. Mike Fitzpatrick. Nobody bid on the truck.
I make a motion, we approve the landscape trailer sale to Marshall Lewis for $800.
I'll second that.
Motion by Patty, second by Nancy to take the bid for $800 for landscaping trailer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I think the best thing would be to move the trucks, probably bring it up here and just put for sale sign in it.
I agree.
It doesn't go here, then what, down on 57 after?
Yeah, then
surplus?
it's, I
Oh,
don't know.
truck before,
Yeah, but I don't think we can do that anymore.
Can't do that no more?
Now, when the guy moved in across the road, I think he raised Cain with him and says
You
he
don't
don't.
notice them out there, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, about it, all right.
But I'm not positive, we could check
No,
it
bring it
out.
here, no, that's fine, bring it here first.
Yeah,
Someone in there likes traffic.
yeah. Okay, that moves us to the compactor.
Well, still trying to get a hold of our, coordinator at Consumers. She's on vacation and her backup person did not return my call. She'll be back Monday.
Okay.
Probably Tuesday.
Is Consumers off Tuesday too?
It is a federal holiday, so I'm not sure
Okay, well,
who
maybe
is and is
Tuesday.
not working. I just know I'm not working.
What holiday is it?
It's Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Oh, they'll be there.
I know.
You're not looking happy about it either.
No.
I'm retired, doesn't matter. Monday.
Okay. 5-year recreational plan.
that that's good until December 31st of this year, so we could still, I mean, the Sparks grant, we could have done that. But it's something we need to start working on, is updating that plan. I don't know if the DDA is doing a survey, because that's what we used last time for, it was a survey by the DDA, so maybe something we need to work with the DDA on.
Has anyone touched base with David, or do one of us want to do that? I can.
Go ahead. That's a good idea.
Moves us down to our insurance claim. Our insurance guys said they extended it until the investigation was done. And I don't know where you got your information, but he says it don't make no difference that it wasn't in no safe or money box. They pay it no matter what. He says somebody could walk out with a money box just as easy as, so that didn't make no difference there.
Well, I'm waiting for that audit to be done, and
Right.
the reason why I did not fill out the other paperwork is because you let them drop the audit, and we need an audit.
I agree.
I don't know whether they ever asked me for an audit.
What kind of audit?
The
do we need?
officer told John and myself that the first officer, you told him that you weren't gonna do an audit, and he said, then this is wrong.
No,
And he told me as well, he said your supervisor denied the audit, so our hands were sort of tied.
that officer, when he stopped at my house that night, he says, I've investigated 2 people, and my leads are, he claimed you had to be careful how you investigate it. And he says, do you want me to come to a board meeting and explain it?
That's not what the detective said to me, he said,
The one you got now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
but
one
that,
who's investigating.
right, but the one that first investigated told me that. And the only 2, the first guy investigated was you and Mike Augustine. August.
But what kind of an audit, so you're wanting to do an audit?
no, the police want
No.
to do an audit, you need to follow up with the detective, okay?
And tell him, yes, we would like an audit, because we do want to know where that went to,
Yeah.
to the best of our abilities.
And also, like you said, to look at any other providers.
Yep.
Exactly.
And the police will do the audit.
The police,
I got his number, I'll let you call him.
Okay. That's what I mean,
So the
that's what it
detective
does.
indicates that the police department would do a complete audit.
They said that was the next step in their investigation, and when the audit was denied, they had nowhere else to go.
But my
Was what
question is,
he told me.
but do they do the
Call
audit,
the
or do we do the
detective.
audit?
We will.
Call the detective and ask him that question.
I'm gonna
I
get-
can't answer.
We didn't
I
ask
can't-
who's gonna do the audit, that's
I
not in
can't
our
answer a
purview.
question that-
Yeah.
No, Kurt, you're the legal agent, please call the detective and say, yes, we are interested in being audited, please.
Okay.
You guys all get a conference call with the same guy, so they're all on the same page?
We can't, because it's a violation of the Open Meetings Act, we can't be in the same place where we might vote on something or we're all involved in unless it's an open meeting and a workshop.
though?
What?
Can you
Two.
Just
Two.
two of you then? Just so you know?
Yeah.
Well, you have a quorum. You can't have a quorum.
It's gonna be a forensic
It's
audit.
a forensic audit, yes, it will be a forensic audit, and they will, yeah, it's something that most likely it's gonna be an outside agency that we will have to hire to do the audit. But that's, I don't know, because I don't know, I
See,
haven't
that's
talked,
what
I don't know.
In my only experience I have is that we did the forensic audit, spent what, $10,000 when the previous treasurer.
Don't you ever bring that man back.
No, but,
I'm dead serious.
right, but I'm just saying, but I'm thinking it's probably gonna be
I'm
the
with you.
And I
same,
have-
same type of thing.
I'm with you.
He personally all but violated me when he was here, so whoever that was, do not bring him back.
We probably
Well,
don't
the
have to
department,
say.
the board will have to approve, well,
The deputy will tell me.
Yeah.
I doubt that
The
he'll get that
detective.
yo-yo
Call
again.
it
Yeah, okay, new business, annual audit.
so that's just the formal engagement letter to conduct a new audit this, ending October 30th. They plan on coming out sometime in October, and that's to do the township and the sewer department audit.
On page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bottom paragraph, responsibilities of management for the financial statements. Audit will be conducted on the basis you acknowledge and understand your responsibility for designing, implementing, establishing, and maintaining effective internal controls. I think that's really important. We both did the internal controls webinar, and Pat, you were planning on it. Did you watch
Yes,
that?
I did. Same one I did 2 years ago, but yeah, I've done it a couple times.
Okay, well, in that, we're supposed to have an ACH policy statutorily. Do we have one of those? That would be handy to have a copy of.
Okay. I'll get a copy of the board members.
We need to vote on that then, or you usually know it.
Yeah. I'd make a motion to approve the engagement letter with Joe and Joe for the yearly audit.
Where's our cost, Pat?
I didn't see it first.
Oh, I found it,
Oh, there it is.
14,175.
plus $750. For the form F-55. Now, is that all our bill, or is that our bill and the sewers combined?
And the
Plus
sewer
the
combined.
DDA too, right?
They do the DDA, in the past, before, the DDA hasn't paid anything for it because theirs is so minuscule. But I think the sewer, I'm gonna say is 35%, sewer department pays 35%. And then if there's any additional, because I think last year there was some additional work that needed to be done for the sewer department, so that's charged directly. Or I mean, it's included, but then they pay that back to us.
Are we required to do an audit yearly? Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna second the motion.
We're not, but she has always said, if you're gonna make me go every 2 years, I'm gonna double my cost, and that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Motion by Patty, second by Alicia to use Yam for the audit. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
And I just-
All opposed? Motion carried.
In the meeting, typically I've met with Megan to go over the year and fiscal year end books. And so I wanted to get the approval to do that. I can use some of my training funds to be able to do that. So I
yeah,
think-
no, we've got, especially with the ARPA and all that, there's a lot of new things there, so. They'll bill that separately and then.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense to me there.
So I make a motion that I attend this meeting with, Yo for year end accounts.
I'll second that.
Motion by Patty, second by Nancy, that she can meet with Yo beforehand. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Puts us down to fall cleanup.
They were already full for September, so we're on potentially for August 26th, 8 to noon.
I just wanna make note, solid waste, HHW, will be in Carson on 8/5, and entire electronics on 8/10 in Lakeview at the airport. So let's try to heavily also promote that one, because if we take anything that they won't take, it's gonna be next spring before we have another HHW from solid waste. And maybe we can get people to
Get rid of that stuff
use the
first.
county
Yeah.
to do that, but yeah. I think August is a good time.
I'll make a motion to approve the August 26th date for fall cleanup.
I'll second.
Motion by Patty, second by Sarah to have fall cleanup August 22nd, 8 to noon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Puts us down to policies.
Policies, okay. And talk of Spark Grant and getting some help with grants in general. The lack of policies is really kind of astounding, and I've reached out to some other townships who also are like, what do you mean you don't have policies and procedures? Like, it is up to us to create them, and you guys have in your hands something straight from the Attorney General, which is a board ethics policy. We have a board code of conduct and a cash handling policy. These are all drafts. Take them home with you, read them over, scratch out the parts we don't like, add in things that we do need. We need policies.
Okay.
How about the, whatever policies we have, can all the board members have a copy of them, please? Because none of us know what we have if we don't have.
We don't have a policy book. So that's, I mean, I know we have an ACH policy because I copy that for the auditors each year.
Okay, like find all the policies we possibly have so we can get an idea of where we
I'll do that in
are.
my 4 hours that I'm here a week.
We did a, you know, they just check for our vehicles and they know we're here.
I'm only here 4 hours a week.
What was I gonna say? We have an investment policy, because I had that one done. We have a banking policy. Any sort of policies we might have, the board members need to know.
ACH,
Investment,
those
banking,
are 3 we
and then
know of.
investment and banking might be combined into one.
What is ACH?
Automatic checking.
Something like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's something to do with electronic checking.
yes,
Yes.
I like
Yeah,
that.
we need a banker to answer that question
I know.
the correct way.
It's basically, that's what it is, they turn a check into electronic form, and they do it electronically.
Automated clearinghouse.
That's,
There you go.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
national,
right.
thank you,
Yeah.
Dennis.
Mr. Google.
Okay, that puts us down to D
Stuff like routine.
wall. Y'all got copies. We started this process probably last year, wasn't it? Marilyn came in. We got 3 estimates. One day had no insurance, right?
No, not in, no.
She
His
said,
equipment is insured.
she kinda recommended the second one here. It's got 2 prices on it, stone or steel. And if you wanna speak on which, I know you called and said they, after your meeting,
That's kind of, I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to either way, and I don't know what the budget for it is. So,
I have a
you want to that on?
I don't think anybody really cares either way. It's just that you're just losing all that frontage.
frontage.
And the people that have the guy to the, was it east side or the north side? South side. He has a seawall, so he's not really losing it. Yeah, on the other side, the seawall stops at the fence and it's just kind of going back in. So that's really the reason why we're asking for that, is because you're just gonna lose it, you know, eventually, or he is. And that park's just slowly gonna go back.
The park's disappearing and that guy's property's
Right,
disappearing.
and I mean, really in the summer, there's not a lot of people that go there, it's more in the winter, guys that ice fish. You know, and if they left it open 10 foot or 7 foot, so you could drive your snowmobile or walk out and pull their shanty out there or whatever, it'd be the best way to go.
I think the quote has a 7-foot access point.
Yeah.
Either steel wall, 7 foot, or a rock wall, 7 foot.
But one of the biggest concerns on that end though too is when the weeds come that way and it gets all piled up in there, we've been taking care of it. You know, that's gonna get cumbersome after a while, and the guy that is actually at that property, he lives in Philadelphia, so he's not there all the time. So it doesn't really get cleaned up unless we do it.
Is if you get a rock wall where it's gonna collect on the rocks, is there gonna be any township cooperation and somebody going in there and cleaning that out? Or are the surrounding neighbors, mainly they, gonna be responsible for cleaning that out?
But I also get, too, it depends on the size of the rock you guys use.
He's got like between 100 and 150.
Yeah, that's a park
Yeah,
one,
that's-
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, bigger the better, I mean, I wouldn't say.
You say we need between 100 and 150
Yeah,
pounds.
I mean, that won't be so bad, but it's just something that we need to.
I have a couple questions here.
Well,
And
not
it's
heard
been a
of.
while since I was involved with Seawall, but I was involved with them for a while.
Mhm.
He does have a rock permit, a steel permit, I understand that, but is that including the Eagle permit? And does it include all the drawings that
It's
Eagle
all
have
their
to have?
stuff, he'll do all of it.
He isn't really saying that, so to speak, and as far as back when, and it could be because it's gonna be a rock seawall rather than a concrete one or a vinyl one. The riprap that you had to put there was very small,
Right.
but these are gonna be bigger because they are gonna be the seawall, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Makes
He's
sense.
gonna handle all permitting.
And drawings.
Yeah, they say rock permits $250
Yeah, I see
and the
that.
steel permits
I see that.
$1,000.
But that's not on this one, is it?
It is, it's down below, or it's right up here.
Oh,
That's up here.
So those are the Eagle permits and everything that goes with it.
Mhm.
I wish it would mention that the drawings are included, because they're not gonna let you do it without all the drawings.
I believe this guy knows that, I mean, that's his business.
Right,
I'm
but
not
usually,
telling
you
you.
know, saying that it's included would help.
Okay.
That's all, you know, because I don't want him to come back and say, oh, well, sorry, but you gotta have these drawings, so you go get them.
He's not gonna say that.
Actually, I have his phone number, I can still not call.
Yeah, it's right on here. Oh.
My question was too, is just because I've seen the permits come through and the length of time that it takes to get those.
Mhm.
I mean, so he's giving us a bit of this now, but if it takes 6 months to get the permits, and is this bid gonna be good then until fall?
It says,
Says till August.
July.
yes, so August right down there at the bottom.
Until
Mid to
in
end of
August.
But
That's when you have it done.
Yeah, but he's gotta get the permits, and it takes till
Right.
September to get the permits. I
That's
don't
gonna
know.
take time, sometimes.
No, they,
Sometimes, I think
Yeah.
they're moving along, I had a buddy put a seawall and they had done 3 months. So, I don't think the stone, if they do that, is gonna be a bigger problem as,
well, I know that there's one over on South Shore that was stone, and the guy's been working for a year and a half trying to get his permit. And
Okay,
it's
yeah, so
stone,
I
but
guess-
I mean, it's different, you know, everybody's everything's different too,
Mhm.
but, so I just am concerned about the length that
we
takes.
can talk to them and let you know.
Say if it helps the process, I'm, I'll problem.
Well, it's a township park, it's causing the neighbor to lose ground.
Mhm.
The other guy's not there, we need to maintain our property.
You know, I think isn't that include pulling that one stone?
Yes.
Yeah,
He was pulling the stump, and he said the rock wall, he could, it's no brainer on the permit, they're gonna allow the rock wall because that's natural. The steel wall, he wasn't seem too concerned about it, so. Either way, I don't think the permit process is gonna be that big of a deal.
Could we use ARPA funds?
Well, you're asking me a trick question there, aren't you? Let me look in my book.
If you,
I guess it's a park, right? And
Yeah.
parks are in that,
And then it's a legal expenditure for the township, so.
yeah, and it's a park, so there we go. I would say that we're answering that question right there.
should we put the steel one in?
Well, I kinda thought we were saving the rest of that ARPA money to make sure the park project got finished.
but don't we have, couldn't we even commit marijuana money to the park project?
Yeah.
Isn't, so,
And we don't have a price.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys say you preferred, or he preferred the rock?
that's what it says here on the bid, rock is preferred and recommended.
that's the guy that put out that quote.
Yeah, that's,
Not your choice, is what you're saying.
It doesn't matter to us, because we're not on it, it's your park.
It was like, oh, you know, they said there's gonna be algae on the rocks, then
It's
gonna
gonna
like
be,
some of our DPW guys to,
yeah, but if they got those big rocks, you're not gonna be on those. I mean, if you had that opening, even if you had Seawall, same thing, people are gonna be in it. And then you're gonna need, I mean, me personally, I just do the rocks, be done with it. If you can do it, easy peasy, but that's my opinion.
I don't. We just need something done with
Yes,
it,
that's
you
all
know?
we're asking, is just that.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
I recently attended the Michigan Lakes and Streams Conference, and they definitely lean toward the rock.
Right.
As a
They're
better for the
natural.
lake.
They're natural, yeah.
Well, they say they don't like steel anymore because it contaminates the soil,
Sure.
and it'd be vinyl, which, I mean, honestly, I think rock would look better.
Yeah, it looks, that's natural that way. Yeah.
I make a motion, we approve the bid for the rock wall for $6,600.
68,
68, sorry.
68.50.
$68.50, using ARPA funds if appropriate.
I'll second that.
I'm gonna say Pat, because it is a park, that is appropriate.
Okay.
motion by Pat, second by Leash to put the rock seawall in over at Duck Lake for $68.50. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
You have a page of last year's budget and adjustments that need to be made. So we need another $2,200 in the treasurer's department, assessor needs $5,100, election needs $69.70, DPW needs $36,750, streets needs $14.90. Brine was more, wages are more elections, and elections is coming out of there, but we've been reimbursed for the state, we've got a couple reimbursements. So it looks like it's really $7,000, but we have got reimbursements there. Assessor is, wages. Nancy's, I think, a lot of transportation.
Yeah, and you know, this budget has the same amount of transportation as last year, and that wasn't enough, and again, if I'm going to 2 banks in 2 different cities, you know, just saying.
Yep.
Sorry. What'd you say about Brian? Did you mention Brian?
Yeah, the Briny contract was more,
Where is that on here?
that's under the streets,
Oh.
14,000. Because we've always paid for Brine under
Okay, gotcha.
general fund, not from the
Oh,
road.
wait a minute, I thought we locked into a contract with him.
We did change the budget.
Sorry. Focus on what we're doing, right?
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the adjustments to the 22-23 budget. as presented.
I'll second that, man.
Motion by Pat, second by Nancy to approve the 22-23 budget with the changes as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
And then it's just a formality to, I'll make a motion to approve the dates for the next 23-24 fiscal year board meeting, including the budget hearing on June 12th, 2024.
I'll second.
Motion by Pat, second by Sarah for the meeting dates for the budget hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
And then there's a resolution for us to opt out of the August election for Central Mountain Public Schools. I have 181 voters that can be sent to Evergreen instead of opening up here. So I would like to make a motion to approve this resolution to opt out of the August 8th election.
I will second that.
Motion by Pat, second by Leash. To opt out of the August 8th election, send them to Evergreen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. puts down the H for salaries.
I talked to Mike, the fire department, he's recommending a 15% increase for the fire department. So I didn't know if the board wanted to do 15% across the board. For everybody, we've got DPW, sewer, fire department, election, the deputies. Just throwing it out there.
What would that kind of increase make the budget look like? What kind of bite would that take out of it?
Again,
Fire department has a fund. DPW, or excuse me, sewer seems to have the fund. And basically, a lot of times you gotta look at least cost of living, if not a little bit more, and we hardly ever have done a cost of living,
No.
which is crazy.
I'll make a motion to do across the board 15% salary increase. DPW, sewer, fire, election, and deputies.
Sure.
Is that a second?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Motion by Patty, second by Nancy to do a 15% increase on wages across the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
4-1. Motion carried.
On the 23 budget?
Well, and I put in here the resolutions if the board was going to do a board salary increase. I think in the budget it was showing increases. So we did at the budget hearing, but that doesn't make them official.
Actually, all of even the, except for the fire department, I think everything showed, including deputies, showed an increase. I don't know about DPW.
I don't think it was 15%. But I'm talking about board members.
I know, but I
Yeah.
think even,
I think so too, Nancy.
yeah, yeah. Oh, well, okay.
I'm a, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all kind of girl, so I'm over here quiet.
Made me laugh at that. Well, if we are not saying anything,
You,
I think that means that it's just dropped. It didn't go any further. No one's making a motion.
Not unless you want a 15% raise with the rest of them.
I don't know. Someone would have to make a motion, and then we second it, and we do a discussion, or it's just that.
You got the figures of what that would be,
Of what?
a 15%
For
raise.
15%? 15% for the supervisor would take you from 9 to 10,350. The treasurer and the clerk from 14,000 to 16,100. The trustees from 250 to $37.50, so $287.50 per meeting for the trustees.
Well, for discussion, driving around on Memorial Day, we had kids and boats co-mingling in the spots because the swim buoys weren't out. We now have the snow fence and the swim buoys are up. On Memorial Day, we did not. We had toddler death hill going down the park. We don't have any policies, we lost $1,000, and I just can't see supporting an increase for any of that.
And all I'm gonna say is, I will make sure that I work my 4 hours a week and make my $67 an hour.
Well, and that was not a comment for me.
Wow.
Well, I'm just saying, I put a lot
There's
of
a
time
lot
in.
more time.
Last Wednesday morning.
Yeah, but that's a shitty comment.
Wednesday morning,
Sorry.
is my typical day off, and I had 5 township issues that I took care of by 10 o'clock in the morning on my personal cell phone. So to say that I work 4 hours a week.
Pat, I didn't say you work 4 hours a week. I know you work more than that. I did not
No,
say
you
that.
didn't- You didn't say that, you're right, you did not say that, Sarah. I agree, you did not say that.
And I know there are many times that I will ask Nancy, you know, are you in the office today? Because I want to talk to her about something. And she's here, and I'm like, do you ever go home? So I personally,
We work hard.
I
I'm here all
personally
day.
know that
We
these
work
two
hard,
are here
Nancy.
way
I'm
more
gonna
than
say
that.
into this.
And I personally think,
Kurt does a lot of phone calls that
Now,
nobody
I-
knows about.
I see on here that when we were given these to look at, the 15% is,
It's not, that doesn't, yeah.
you know what I mean? There is a specific amount on here for
But
each one of
these-
you.
These were done based on the information from when Kurt did the budget. He
Okay.
met with board members.
He did?
Yes, and they had indicated that that was the amount
Okay.
that they, were recommending possibly. And that's where those resolutions came from. And then, so the 15%, those resolutions can easily be changed if needed, so.
So, me personally, because I know how much you guys work and somebody saying that you only work 4 hours, to me, that is ridiculous. So I'm gonna set a motion to raise the supervisor to 10,000, the clerk and the treasurer to 15,200.
What about
Trustees.
trustees?
I'm not going to say anything about the trustees, cause that directly affects me and I want, I don't want to have any,
Oh, well, okay, in this case though, I mean, because this is a board, all of the board is involved in this, and they should not take that to it's a personal thing.
Well, you're going off
But I know
of
what you're
when we
saying.
met, right?
yes,
And we
Rather
figured
than
in as the
15%.
trustees was at 300.
yes.
I mean, the one meeting, the rest of them are free. So throw that in your motion.
My motion is then to raise the trustees to $300.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Elise on the raises as
Oh, wait,
presented.
we need to.
Oh, you gotta do a
We
resolution.
yeah. So we need to do a roll call vote. So for supervisor, Alicia,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Kurt,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah,
No,
clerk, Sarah,
no,
Nancy,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Alicia,
Yes.
treasurer, Alicia,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Kurt,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah,
no,
trustees, $300, Sarah,
no.
Nancy,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Alicia.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with Sarah that there is plenty of work that we need to do,
There
because
is
there
plenty.
is.
There's.
Policies is the number one thing I'm gonna say we need to get focused on. I'm available after 5 most days. I will be more than happy. I've already gave Sarah some ideas with the catch handling policy. I will be more than happy to come in anytime after 5 and help any one of you with any policies. I do have some experience with policies at my other job, so I will be more than happy to come in and do that.
Oh, we got. What's the sound of the sewer? Right?
We need to approve the township budget, there's a
Oh, township.
resolution for the township budget. Copy attached. make a motion to approve the budget resolution, property tax rate as presented.
I'll second that, Pat.
Roll call, Alicia,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Kurt,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Then the sewer budget is included on that. I make a motion to approve the sewer budget as presented.
I'll second that.
Alicia,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Kurt,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
and then the DDA budget's also. I didn't write it down, Kurt, but I apologize. Who made the motion for the township? I did. And Alicia seconded it? Sorry. Pat and Alicia did the sewer. Okay, sorry. DDA budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the DDA budget as presented.
I'll second that. Sarah,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Alicia.
Yes.
Okay. For MTA, we want to increase.
Yeah, let's also buy the premium pass. That is a benefit to every member of the board.
Yep.
We'll also save us on the, conference. Finance.
So you're making a motion to approve the premium pass on MTA for how much is it?
It's $1,900 and use some of our training budgets as well.
I'll second that.
Motion by Nancy, by the premium pack from MTA for $1,900, seconded by Patty. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. You have one other thing, Nancy.
We did it. The premium pass. Yes, thank you, Kurt. Sorry.
That opens us up to public comment. Marilyn?
Just follow up on the Seawall. Is somebody on the board gonna contact him, or do you want me to,
I
or?
know you've been dealing with him, but if you wanna,
Okay,
go ahead.
well, I just wanna make sure, I don't mind calling him and setting it up and that kind of thing, but that I have
Maybe.
permission from the board to, that
Yeah,
it's okay to
yeah.
say. Okay,
But they might need some information for us for the permit.
If you do, give us a call, Patty or Lynn.
I want to comment about the name things on here. They're nice, I like them.
Better study and we're gonna mix them up next week.
Sherry?
It'll be a test.
Yeah, there was a pretty strong reaction from one of the board members, and I don't think that they really listened to what I said. It said, however, without all of that other information, the only thing that the township sees, the passersby see, is that the hours that are posted on that board. So based on what's just being posted, this is what the situation, this is what it calcs out to be. I followed that up with, if you're in the office more than what's on the sign, and I know that you are, then I think it behooves the people that are gonna be here to be available to the public and just change those hours. If you look at some of the other townships, they clearly state supervisors in the office, this amount of time, treasurers available here, clerks available here. It's not just one block, it's several. So if you're here, I think I would like to know that the office is open. Maybe there's something I wanna come and speak with you about that I'm not available to do on Tuesday in that small window of time. So, the offense that you took, I was just, as I said, it wasn't pointed at anything other than what's on the sign. So.
John?
Couple of these I should have done in public comments earlier, and I'm sorry. For anyone watching the YouTube video of this, closed captioning works. I know the volume is not great. Hit closed captioning. Couple things already been covered. Recreational project, Patty, thank you for providing what you have provided. wish or would ask nicely or suggest some better notes. There's a lot of money that has been spent, and I don't know what it says, park project. I assume that's Wolverine, I don't know, but we've already spent almost $73,000. I don't know what that's got us. I know that we have money budgeted for this project, but that does not show up in a credit, so we don't know what we have budgeted for that and what is remaining, just to kind of get an idea of where we're sitting. Basically, better notes. On tonight's agenda, correspondence number 7, there's A, B, and C where you mentioned them, but you didn't say anything about it. I'm curious what it is, and it's on the agenda. So why have we not talked about it? It makes me wonder. Budget. I wish there was more time to look at this. In the little bit of research I've done or looking, Cato Township did a workshop a couple of weeks before they voted on their budget in public, went line by line and talked about everything. They went line by line. It's a lot to consume in one night, and trying to listen while I'm looking at this, the only thing I want to ask right now is, I'm noticing that our DPW salary and wages is up almost 100% in 1 year. It went from 48,000 to 90,000. It is now budgeted for 80,000. That is a huge amount of money being spent on wages. And I don't know, I'm just saying, it's a lot of money. I don't know what they do. I don't see them. I don't know. I don't know who follows up with them. Those are my comments. Thank you.
So, talking about the raises, like 15%, how often do you give those folks a raise?
Yearly.
15%?
No, this is the first time we gave them a 15.
What do you usually do? I mean, I work at Consumers, we got a 5-year contract, we got 3% a year.
Sometimes it's $1 an hour.
Right, but I'm just saying, we got 3% a year, 15% unheard of. I mean, that's shocking.
Probably because they really haven't got much.
They did
But
last
you
year.
need
Went years
But
and
you
years
need a
and years
structure for
without
that, you
raise,
just can't
without
do it all at
raise.
once, because then everybody's looking at you, you
Yep.
give 15%, you're like, holy crap,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of money. I mean, if I got that and I worked at Consumers, I'd quit. I mean, I would retire.
I think the wages are a little different here than Consumers.
No, I totally understand that, but I'm just saying, if you had a structure where you did it every year, a certain amount, I understand what you're saying, but 50% just seems like a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I understand how they gotta eat too, but.
Fiscal policy.
Right, they don't have.
When Mike took the job for DPW, did you give him a raise then?
Started by giving Roger a raise the year before,
Right.
and it was significant.
They hired 2 people.
I'm sorry,
Well, they were gonna keep Roger part-time.
Public comment board.
Stay.
sorry.
Not respond during public comment.
The fall cleanup, can you give me the date again? Because,
August.
26 from 8 to noon.
okay, because I heard 22nd and then,
Yeah.
but it's the 26th.
That's the
Okay.
here one.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Jeremy.
I just, I want to commend you all on the hard decisions that you have to make, and I really feel that you guys deserve the raise. I feel that you're still underpaid for the work that you do. And it's tough, but there's no other mechanism to set those wages. If you compare your wages versus the time, as well as the DPW, the sewer department, it's still low. So, I think that the wage increase was totally fine, probably long overdue. We're seeing it in the real world, it's crazy. I mean, even 3 years ago, I never thought we would have the wages that we have today, and that's just to get people in the door.
Right.
Things have gone up a lot. And then the other thing I want to mention, I wasn't aware of this until I stopped and actually looked at it, but for everybody that may or may not know, Seawall has a life jacket loaner program here at the boat launch.
Yep.
Which
Pretty
is so cool. I
Yeah, it
mean,
is
that is such a great idea. So I don't know, there's probably a dozen or more life jackets there, and it's
Various
basically
sizes.
borrow and return. So
Yep.
when they get there, they can, so I'm sure there's people that get to the boat launch and, oh shoot, we forgot one, or we got more people, or whatever. And, so far, they're still there. And
Yeah.
people aren't using them, or people that are using them are returning them, so that's a good thing.
Compactor, are you guys looking to do electricity to put the compactor over here?
We're trying to determine where we're gonna locate it.
Well, if you put it down in the corner, 3 phases right there on the pole feeding my building, and if you cut off the grass and put a gravel lot, and put the compactor down there, your power's right there.
Oh, shit. You've got
Right
3-phase?
here.
You've got 3-phase?
Yeah, I got 3 phases in my red building, yeah.
Thank you for the information.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's,
What's your address?
it's
Sam,
commercial.
what's your address?
Mine,
Down
Down
there.
119 Meyer Street.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's commercial 3-phase, it's 208.
There is a various,
I think that's what they need, wasn't it?
that's
Well,
one of them they could use.
Usually 240 or 480, but 208 works for 240.
There was one of them, I got all the notes.
Yeah, the transformers are all hanging on a pole. There's 3 transformers, that gives you your 3-phase right down there in the corner. Just put the whole shebang on the corner, just level
I
it
have
off.
to check with consumers,
Yeah,
yeah. They gotta get
it comes across Sherry's lot. And then down to the corner.
Excellent, Stan.
Yeah.
We'll be talking tomorrow.
Anybody else? Roger?
Just kinda curious on the fire department, I know we do a lot to help them out and everything. How is the personnel up there as far as maintaining them? Are we losing any to retirement, are we losing any from moving? Are our numbers staying even? Do we need to fire more, look for more, recruit more? No one's ever talked about that, I just thought it'd be kind of a curious thing. Because we keep adding equipment, those are people there to use it.
It's getting hard to get people.
How are we doing it though? I mean, are we maintaining right now? Do we need people?
We could use people.
How low are we? Do you think?
I think we had 20-some people.
Trouble
I'm not
is,
sure.
some of them, like,
And I know.
during the
What's
day,
the
don't show
number,
up.
what's the number we like to maintain at?
That'd be a question for Mike, probably, I don't know.
Well, he's gotta come to the meetings. You know, that's why I'm asking you. Yeah, but that was for the budget though.
I know right now during the day, we're all right, because still got Roger on there, Scott.
For how long?
That's the trouble right there, they're getting worse.
Yeah. I mean, is there a recruiting process that we could look into, or,
You gotta-
other than sitting back waiting for somebody saying, hey, I wanna be a firefighter?
I think they always are offering, but then I think it's $180 class you gotta go take.
That's fine.
Yeah, and I do believe most of those, classes and uniforms, except for certain things, they are paying for themselves.
Well, I know, my father returned as a firefighter, I know how that works.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking, are we maintaining, because we're looking for community safety, you know?
I think we probably maintained the last couple of years. I think personality problem's a problem out there.
Why is that?
Don't talk about
Not you, Nancy.
Getting along, I think.
And then Nancy, you're saying mileage to the banks?
Mhm.
What are we doing for mileage for the bank, for city banks, for instance?
What do you mean, what are we doing?
Why do you need mileage?
You think I'm going to take a deposit to the bank for free?
Don't you have a ATM card?
We use those, but the second we get cash or money order, doesn't work. And Pat
does.
is still, no, I've talked with Sydney about that, Roger.
I used to deposit there, so don't tell me that.
Okay, I'm not on it with you, that's for sure.
I'm saying, you got a bank card for You have a bank card.
Nancy and I did 2 separate trips to the ATM to do deposits, my first 2 times as deputy treasurer. One time we had, and I don't remember exactly what, there was a rejection that took a while to figure out why we didn't balance while we're standing in between the doors of the entryway, I'm sorry?
The vegetable.
The vestibule. The second time, I was uncomfortable because we had thousands of dollars in cash and we were at Blanchard's in between doors.
John, I don't put cash in that ATM.
We did.
Cash goes to
I
the
thought,
bank.
okay, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. I didn't feel comfortable that day and I thought we had cash. So we made the decision to, there were days that I needed to take my son past the bank. So I volunteered to go to the bank, and that was in Sydney. It is standard procedure, though, for any mileage with any business or governmental entity that I'm aware of, that you get a certain amount of money per mileage. That is standard.
I understand that, but what was the purpose of the bank card then?
When we don't have any cash and money orders have been a problem, they reject.
There was
them.
money orders, yep.
Yeah.
So you're doing withdrawal by the ATM?
They weren't set up for withdrawals, is my understanding. They were only for deposits.
That's right, yeah.
And I did not take my card because I did not want a card with my name on it. Nancy, to the
They don't
best of
have
my
names on
knowledge.
it. They don't have names on it. They just say-
Well, it was trackable because that was an issue. Peggy almost broke down about this.
Yeah, she did.
So they were made as deposit only.
So I guess that's what I'm asking, is why aren't we using them as deposit then? I mean, I put cash in there all the time when I have my business. A lot of other businesses do it.
Can I say something? Okay, I work, no secret, I work at Huntington Bank, and there has been many, many times that our machine, somebody shoves a check in there, a folded check in there, so it no longer accepts the deposit. So, yes, you can make deposits at ATM. It's just not always the best option for that reason. You may not be able to, 9 times out of 10. That's
We
just
do
my.
what we can.
Jeremy?
Just a suggestion, you might wanna ask City Bank if they can offer a check scanner. We just had those added to our 2 offices, and now we don't have to take checks to the bank anymore.
I don't think they offer that, but I'll try. 'Cause I did check on them, and something you had asked me about a year or so ago, Jeremy, but I'll ask them.
Anybody else? Sherry?
Yeah, I'd just like to follow up on that. I want to clarify that I'm not saying that you people do not deserve compensation for the work that you do, by any means. As far as Jeremy's comment with regard to the cost of living, this is not, from my understanding, a primary source of income for most board members. And in my mind, quite frankly, I mean, when I became a trustee, I was shocked to learn that I actually got paid for that, because I thought it was a community service. I wanted to be on this board to do good for the township, see what we can do to help them in any way, shape, or form, maintain the properties. So money was not an issue. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you don't deserve compensation. But as far as a cost of living raise or things of that nature, that's not even in my possible mind thought process. So, once again, I'm gonna say it one more time, I believe you deserve compensation.
Thank you. Anybody else? Stan?
I would like to commend the board for staying out of the newspaper, like the townships on the west side of our county are always in the paper, and it's because their township board members are pissing and moaning at each other all meetings long.
Elizabeth, you remember that? We should-
Yeah, I congratulate Crystal Township for staying out of the paper.
Well, page 2.
Yes, we have.
Well, not for the reasons other people, other townships.
Anybody else? Get a motion adjourned?
Motion to adjourn. I'll second.
A motion by Nancy, second by Patty to adjourn at 8:15, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, you stand up, eh?
Somewhere.
Do you know what policies they, when they had the ORB thing, what policies that they went by? Your wife was talking about?
She got them from, I believe, the Michigan websites.
Well, I looked at, Montcalm County had their own, and I had looked it up.
Maybe it was, we would ask her, and she posted a link to it on one of the social pages, or maybe all of them.
Okay, I'll ask her, because I looked it up last year, and I was like, oh.
Super cheap from
Yeah,
They definitely don't follow that, so.
No, and in fact, there were a number of people that put multiple boxes. Telling me they can go, I don't know if they'll ever do that or not, but he's got a question for you, honey. Yep.